Welcome to Zambia at 60. I'm your host, Faith Katai. Sustainable development is crucial for any country's long-term prosperity and well-being, and the church in Zambia has played a significant role in promoting and supporting sustainable development in various ways. On this program today, we look at the vital role the church has played in shaping the nation's journey towards sustainable development over the last 60 years. To help us talk about this topic, we have Reverend Solomon Bulo, Senior Pastor, Shekinah Tabernacle Assembly and Pentecostal Assemblies of God, Zambia, and Reverend Miriam Gondwe, General Overseer for Bethel Touching Lives Church. Reverend Bulo, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Faith. It's nice to be here.
Reverend Gondwe, welcome to Zanis Studios.
Thank you very much, Faith, and welcome our viewers.
Thank you. So, Reverend Bulo would like to first understand the Christian perspective of sustainable development.
Thank you very much. One thing I would like to say is that Christians' view concerning this subject, we look at it from a stewardship point of view, that as Zambians or as a people under God's creation, that we should be responsible and care for God's creation and promote justice to ensure that we use responsibly the resources that God has blessed us with, and also that we should also to look at the present and the future generation. This perspective integrates in environmental care with economic and social justice, reflecting on the principles found in the Bible about stewardship, which talks about loving the neighbor. So if we love our future children, if we love the present Zambians, we'll be able to share these resources that God has blessed us with equally, so that we think about our future generation. You know, it's sad that nowadays we just look at the present. When you look around, even the climate change that we're experiencing today, it's because of selfishness. Remember, in those days we used to have at the house, you could have the house itself, and then some flowers and so on. But nowadays we have put pavers all over. So meaning that we are hindering the evaporation of water from the ground. So we're not thinking about the future. We're selfish. We just take care of ourselves only. So I believe that when we're looking at this subject, we should be able to look at for future generation. Thank you.
Wonderful. Reverend Gondwe, on the same, what is the Christian understanding of sustainable development?
I think Reverend has properly put it, and one thing that he has mentioned is that our lifestyles today, we live as if there will be no tomorrow. We forget that we have children that we have brought into this world, and we have grandchildren that will inherit what we are doing today. Even our burial practices today are not correct. We have this tendency of throwing cement into the graves, and that has an environmental impact. And apparently we have been silent about this. We are thinking just because one person did it and everybody now has begun to do it, but that has a future repercussions. Just as the charcoal burning has had a very negative impact on our nation. I think Zambia, for the first time in many, many years, we're experiencing a drought because of our attitudes, the way that we have lived these past few years. I think there should be a change going forward, where we should begin to have a mindset change and think about how we can preserve our Zambia. Remember, we only have one Zambia, Faith. We are leaving it to our children and our children's children. And what we do today has an effect on what they have tomorrow. I remember a scripture in the Bible that says God visits our sins to the 4th and 5th generation. And so what we do today affects our 4th and 5th generation. So we need to have a mindset change and begin to educate each other on practices. Just because someone does it doesn't mean it's right.
So, Reverend Gondwe, how has the church historically contributed to sustainable development efforts in Zambia's since independence?
I think Zambia is, the church is Zambia's #1 family. We have been a family of Zambia for a long, long time as the church, in that the church has played significant roles in making sure that we contribute to the sustainable growth. We have played our role in educating the people. We speak some of these things on our altars, and we have participated also in putting up schools. The church has been involved in bringing up healthcare facilities that help with sustainable growth with our nation. We advocate for social justice for everybody. I think we speak for everyone when there is no voice. And so the church is a continuous friend in the historic journey of Zambia. And we have played that pivotal role from the beginning. For us to still be seated here and say Zambia is Christian, it's because the church has been very, very instrumental in making sure that there is a balance. Where we see there is a problem, I think various leaders from different societies of the church, they will come up and they'll speak out and say, this one, let us correct it. Even to the point where when we see there is something that is not right with our leaders up there, we still sit them down and say, people, we are a peaceful nation. We are a people who dialogue. We are a people who are able to come together and make sure that our country is the best place to live.
Reverend Mbulo, in what ways is the church collaborating with the other stakeholders in promoting sustainable development goals in Zambia?
No, thank you very much. Just as my friend has talked about dialogue, as a church, we have worked with the government, especially in dialogue. This is to promote and support the healthcare and also education in our communities. So this partnership involves addressing issues like the poverty alleviation, healthcare, environmental sustainability, and aligning with the national plans and goals. So like we thank God that now that we have got this CDF coming in. So you find that in our communities, like I come from Mrs. So this initiative has really helped our society there, our community there, in that they have formed groups whereby now they can access this CDF money, and through it all, we'll see that Zambia will be a poverty-free nation as we go by, because these men and women and the youth in our compound are utilizing this opportunity to enhance development in the nation. So I can see that the church and the government are partners in development. Thank you.
Great. So Reverend Gondwe, I know Reverend Bolo has mentioned some of the initiatives that the church is undertaking. Are you able to add some of the other initiatives that the church is doing or undertaking to promote environmental sustainability?
Yes, Faith. As it has already been well put, most of the times when a government wants to work with the communities or to work with the people, the first place they will come is the church, because they know that is where we gather everybody. And when we look at CDF, groups are formed, and I, for one, I sit in my office half my time signing recommendations for members of the church that have formed this group, because the government also wants to know, are the people that we are giving money to upright, standing members of society? And our church, as the church, we play that pivotal role. We know our community. We live in this community. We preach in these communities, and we know who is who. And so we help the government pick out the right people. Because if I'm going to sign for your document and recommend you, Faith, I know you and I know your character. When I refuse, I've refused. I'm helping the government not to give finances to the wrong people that will just probably waste it on something else. And so the church will also initiate programs like waste management. We encourage our communities to not litter the environments and to make sure that what needs to be recycled is recycled. We go as far as the prisons. We do not leave those that are in prison just like that and say the correction services will just keep them. We enter including into the prisons where we help inmates begin to rehabilitate through sustainable workshops. We give them recycling management. We give them how to make bags or use or to do farming. We get involved in so many of these things. There is now new initiatives by the green economy that are talking about replanting trees. And we speak to our people to plant trees, even within their own yard. Today, like my elder brother was speaking, we have pavers in our yards. We don't even have a single fruit tree. When I was growing up, you come outside this time of the year, you'll be picking guavas, you'll be picking peaches from the fruit trees. But these days we have this habit of sikifuna matika. So we pave our driveways. But we've been speaking to our people to say, let's plant even fruit trees that people can eat from, and they can provide that environment that is necessary for our greener world.
Wonderful. So when it comes to education and awareness, Reverend Bulo, how is the church involved in educating its congregants about sustainable development practices?
Normally we have got so many forums where we are able to transmit this information. One of them is we use our pulpits. And also when there's a gathering, churches, we normally have the various gatherings. The youth, they meet on their own, they have conferences. And the women also have got their own conferences, men, their own conferences. So when we have this huge gathering, we are able to meet them and educate them about the importance of this environmental sustainability through the National Development Plan. So we are able to encourage them also to, as my colleague has said, planting of trees, because now trees are being used for charcoal. So we need to replace the trees which are being cut every minute, every hour, and every day. So the church is really involved in promoting and educating our members so that they are also involved in this environmental.
Let's take a short break. Stay tuned. It's 60 years of independence. Welcome to Zambia at 60. I am Alice Banda.
I'm Juliet Mtale.
Now, Juliet, we are heading towards 24th of October when Zambia attained its independence. Something worth to remember.
Indeed, Alice, something worth to remember. So memorable, a good thing to walk to freedom. Join us on Zenith TV as we bring to you different independence stories from across the country. Watch Topster Channel 6 DTT
and Channel 458 DTH. Don't miss. Welcome back. This is Zambia at 60. We are focusing on the vital role the church in Zambia has played in shaping the nation's journey towards sustainable development. We are talking to Reverend Solomon Bulo, Senior Pastor, Shekinah Tabernacle Assembly and the Pentecostal Assemblies of God, Zambia, and Reverend Miriam Gondwe, General Overseer for Bethel Touching Lives Church. Reverend, we get back to our interview. Coming to health and wellness, what role does the church play in addressing health issues such as HIV and AIDS and maternal health as part of a broader sustainable development strategy?
Okay, thank you very much, Faith. The church is very much aware of these issues concerning the HIV and AIDS. What is happening now is that in our communities, we find that there's two parts of maybe addressing this issue. The first part is whereby we're educating our youth and the church the importance of abstinence so that they don't fall into this disease which are at hand now. So there's what we call prevention part of it that we are aware of and telling our people that they should keep away, especially the young ones, that they should keep away from sex until they get married. And then also the marrieds, we are also telling them that they should drink from their own cistern. They should not drink somewhere else. So those are the, some of the measures that we have in prevention. And then we're talking about maintenance for those who are already affected. So we have got various groups in the church, especially that go in the communities and then they take care. Some of those people that are already affected, especially the aged. For the young, those who have got energy, I think we encourage them to continue taking the medicine. But for those aged, but since they cannot maybe do the cleaning and washing and so on, so find the church comes in once in a while. We go in the communities to help out in the cleaning, the surroundings and washing, and some of them bathing them. So we can see that the church is really involved with this disease. Has not just affected maybe one family, it has affected all of us. So we need concentrated efforts to fight it. Thank you very much.
Reverend Gondwe, on the same?
Wow. I think, like Reverend has put it, the church has been a buddy to so many of those that are currently on medication, and we don't stop talking about abstinence, especially with our youth, because our youth are the future of tomorrow. And so we keep putting up workshops to try and speak to them, because they are at a stage and an age where they are experimental, and so they are the most vulnerable group, and we try as much as possible. And it's not only there, we also try to speak to our mothers who are in maternal ways, and we try to explain to them and maybe educate them about the importance of choosing methods of birth that are protective towards the child that is coming into the world, and how best they can look after this child and ensure that the children are actually protected from acquiring the disease at birth. There are so many interventions that the church does. We have people who don't want even their family members to know, but the church plays that pivotal role of becoming a buddy to such, helping them to get medication, helping them to get counseling. We are the first counsel, actually, that people come to and say, Reverend, I'm like this. And it begins with us, the pastors, and say, look, there is nothing to fear. You have to take care of yourself. And we escalate the matter to our health facilities. In that way, we are trying as much as possible as the church to just hold hands with the government and the healthcare system because it affects all of us. It's a national thing, it's a worldwide issue, and we have played that role, and I believe we are still playing that role.
Rosanne, in what ways is the church involving young people in sustainable development initiatives?
Like I said, the youth are our tomorrow. And so the church usually puts up initiatives like workshops where we explain to them what sometimes the youth, I think the youth of today, they are very lazy to read. And so one of the things that we have done as the church is we get information from the government. We get to hear about initiatives that are being offered. Like I earlier said, green economy has been encouraging people to go back to the land and to begin to plant trees. So we help these youths come up with sustainable ways of grouping themselves, getting this fund and get to replant trees. It's a way of telling them the trees you are planting are not for charcoal, like your parents have cut them down, but your effort is now to grow them. And then we have sustainable workshops that talk to the women about recycling. I, for one, usually gather women to tell them, pick up all these plastic bags, let's make doormats out of them so we can reuse them. So that's recycling. It goes even as far as the prisons. We have workshops that talk about people growing, coming up with farm blocks, people growing, maybe keeping chickens, doing also. But at the close of the day, what we are trying to say to our youth is that you don't have to wait for the government to employ you. You are able to sustain yourself. We used to grow up in environments where we had backyard gardens. Mm-hmm. We didn't know how to go to the market to go and buy rep. We would get it from our backyard. I grew up in an environment where I would pound my own milli meal from the grain to the powder. And today we want quick fix on everything. And I still want to say, as a nation, we need to go back to where we grew up. If we are to sustain Zambia for the next 100 years, we need to self-innovate. We need to, right now, I think the electricity issue has taught us a lesson that we have become too mechanical, too electronic based. We should go back to using our own motors and grind our own milli meal and plant our own vegetables and come up with our own lighting systems. We used to use lamps. We are back to those lamps. And we are surviving. So sometimes things happen to us for us to learn to look back into ourselves and not become dependent on an environment that will one day imprison us.
Great. Over the next 60 years, how does the church in Zambia envision its contribution to shaping a more sustainable, equitable, and prosperous future? Reverend Bulo.
Thank you very much. Now, over the next 60 years, the church in Zambia envisions contributing to the more sustainable, equitable, and prosperous future by continuing in its commitment to stewardship, meaning the community development and social justice. This includes adopting to emerging challenges, supporting innovative solutions, and strengthening partnership with various stakeholders to achieve the long-term stability goals. So what we're saying is that looking ahead now, as Zambia at 60, we should be able to envision that 60 years from now or 100 years from now, the country should be better than where we are. You know, we are at a place whereby Zambia is faced with a lot of challenges. We have got a drought. After the drought, no rains. People now are starving. We have got this hunger. I think all these are because of the selfish ways of human being at the moment. And then as as it is not enough, we have hunger, but now we've got road shedding. So this is another issue that we need to look at. For example, we have been depending on hydro for a long time. And I think this thing has come in at the right time, that we should not just look at hydro in the future, that power or electricity can only come out through hydro, but we should look at other sources of energy development, like this solar coming, charcoal coming in. So it is also an eye-opener to the nation that looking at the future, Zambia at 60 now and next future generation, let's try to develop this nation, not only just looking at the one source of energy, but we should explore other sources of energy. Thank you.
Great. Reverend Gondwe, lastly, as we come to the end of our program, this year Zambia will be celebrating Diamond Jubilee, which has been themed 60 years strong, honoring our heritage, embracing the future. What is your word to the Zambian people?
Thank you very much. My word to the Zambian people, to me, the Zambian, to my grandchildren, my children, and my children's children, my word to Zambia now is that 60, we have grown, we have learned the hard way, we have learned some of these things by means of experiencing them. And I think experience is the best teacher. And so for us to sustain our Zambia, we need a mindset change. And we need to go back to sustaining our environment by going back to our education system. Let's revamp the JETs, where we used to allow children to think about how they are going to survive. Let's bring back in our churches the Girl Guides and the Boy Scouts that survive no matter the environment. Let's go back to asking each and every one of us to keep livestock, probably to avoid poverty and hunger. Let's look back at agriculture, plant a tree, grow a garden, pull out those pavers, a section of your yard, and plant a garden. Plant something. At least you know that when you plant something, you help the earth. When you pave the earth, you kill the earth. So at least, well, let's go back to places where we self-sustain. We cannot be at 60 looking for handouts and waiting for someone to come from outside to help us. It's a time when we have to look within. I think COVID has taught us that. And it's an experience that none of us will ever forget. And because of that place, I think it is high time we had a serious mind change and look at building our nation for the future generations. Let's leave a legacy that says Zambia is a place where people would like to run to. We are still a food basket. I still believe we are a food basket. We are not yet off that market. Despite not having the rains, we can find ways of harvesting our water this coming rainy season. Wherever you are, find a reservoir. If you're in the villages, dig up, team up and try and put a dam so that you can preserve that water for winter maize. Let's continue farming. Let's continue looking to ourselves. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Reverend, your closing remarks?
Yes, Zambia at 60, as we celebrate our Diamond Jubilee, my message to the nation is that, as my colleague said, we should have matured. We should have a mindset change, in that a mind of hard working. Let us be hardworking people. Those in villages, in town, let us be industrious. In villages, let's do the farming. Let us be productive, and also let us promote unity. You know, we are a country that is made up of different tribes. So let us not divide the nation. Let us promote unity. As we celebrate our Diamond Jubilee, I want also to say that Zambia, let's be accountable. Accountability should start from our homes, our churches, and also as a nation as well. The little resources that God has blessed us, let us make use of it equally. And then finally, let's also promote patriotism. You know, I normally hate when these politicians start scandalizing each other, talking ill of each other. But we should be able to promote patriotism, meaning that we should be proud that we are Zambians. So let us talk well of Zambia. We have been peaceful from the time of independence up to today. So with these few words, Zambians, let us grow. We have matured, and let's be responsible. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Reverend Bulo, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Reverend Gondwe, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Faith.
Viewers, thank you for watching Zambia at 60. My name is Faith Katai. Goodbye, and may the Lord bless you.